Now in our 6th year, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Hey everybody, this is the Ramble. I'm Alex Bennett coming to you live until midnight tonight in New York City. Ladies and gentlemen, out to the other coast of the United States we go to join the lovely Larry Bubbles Brown. Hello, Larry.
Hello, Alex.
The only guy we just do audio with. That's why you see a constant thing on your screen that says Larry Bubbles Brown with his ugly mug on it, because he has still his flip phone.
Yes, and so you just put up, it's like the courtroom, you put up an artist rendering.
Yes, right.
Remember those, and then it was artist rendering.
Right. I'll tell you something, though. What I really kind of enjoyed is I was trying to get onto the phone company. I just wanted to find out about my phone charges. There's a charge there that says shared charge or something. I don't understand what it is. And, of course, I don't want to call them because I'll be on hold forever. So I go to their chat, and that is absolutely useless. It was taking me a half hour to get a simple answer. All I wanted to know was, what is the shared plan? It says shared plan, and then it says what my regular plan is paying, and I don't know what the shared plan is, and it doesn't make any sense to me. So you should be glad you have the same phone you've had for the last 20 years, because you don't have to go through this crap.
Yes, trying to get an answer out of any company these days is impossible. Like you said, a half an hour to get a simple answer.
Yeah, just a simple answer. All I want to know is, and then all of a sudden they say, well, you bought your phone in blah, blah, blah. And I could swear this phone is 2 years old, that I didn't buy it on that day. But maybe I did. I could be wrong, but anyway, I'm fed up. With having to deal with these things. Life is really, life is difficult these days. Nothing is easy.
No.
If something's wrong on your electric bill, it's going to take you the rest of the day to solve the problem.
Absolutely. That's why nothing gets done. And with all this technology, this stuff is supposed to be a snap, and it's getting worse.
Yeah, and don't give me the excuse your people are working from home. If they're working from home, they probably are in a much more decent situation than if they were at the office, okay? So don't give it to me, well, they're working from home, so everything's fucking up. What do you mean? It shouldn't, So. And then I take my what I call my nice pill. I have a nice pill. It's a thing I take for my neuropathy. And somehow Marjorie says, I'm so nice after I take it. All day long, I'm just very pleasant, But I'm loopy. I bump into walls. I just started talking to you, and then I hung up on you because I thought that it was a little red button. So I said, that must mean record. I mean, that's how loopy I am right now. So,
well, stay out of the car.
Well, I'm drinking coffee now. Oh, listen, driving a car. I haven't driven a car in 3 years.
Boy, that would be hard for me, and it would be impossible to own a car in New York City, I would imagine.
Yeah. But I haven't driven a car in 3 years, and I wonder if I still can drive.
It's like a bicycle. You could drive.
You think so?
Yeah.
Oh boy. I think about getting, but plus the fact that in the 3 years that I haven't driven a car, they have changed. They're all like electronic, and they got all this stuff in there, and you just push a button to change gears, and I'd have to relearn how to drive.
Somebody loaned me a Mercedes last year, and it was like literally I had to sit in there 15 minutes to learn how to start the thing, and it was really overpowering, the electronics, and stuff you have to learn.
Yeah, but was it easy enough for you once you got going?
It was once I got going, yeah, but it had things like if the radio is you hit a screen and there's certain things it's so technological it makes it harder to do rather than if you want to adjust the seat rather than just hit a little lever, you have to hit the screen and then find out where the seat is, and it takes 5 minutes. And it was irritating.
Yeah, well, I mean, what about the old days where you just had a car that had a key and you turned it and it started?
Yeah, no key. You have a fob, which you always lose, and you press a button. If you got the fob, you just press a button to start the car.
Yeah,
they're not good. They're over-engineered, and I was reading Consumers Report how all the new cars they really don't like all the advanced electronics on them. They're very cumbersome.
Well, you've got a very at its base, you've got a very mechanical machine that's all gears and rods and blah blah blah. None of that changes. So when you add into it the electronics, you really can screw things up. I mean, it's much simpler when all you had to do was get in the car, put a key in there, start it, okay, yeah, and then put it into gear, and get going. That was it,
I like the simplicity of that.
When I was a kid, I learned on a stick shift. I don't know about you.
I never got to drive a stick shift in my life, so no, I should have that skill, but I don't.
Yeah, no, I learned on a stick shift. And, naturally, when automatic came along, it was easy peasy. It was a no-brainer, okay? But you had to learn how to use the clutch and how to, And I got to tell you, I almost prefer that because you had more control over the car, And
that's what I hear, although I heard if you're driving a stick shift up a steep hill in San Francisco, that took some skill.
Oh, I learned that skill, though, because I was born and raised in San Francisco. I could get to the top of the steepest hill in San Francisco and literally not go back an inch. When I
I'm always afraid when you got somebody in front of you and they start to roll back.
Well, you got your foot on the pedal, and then what you do with your other foot, then you put your what did I do? You put your foot on the clutch in order to make it. Let's say you stopped. You're in gear, but you stopped. Okay. So then you let out the clutch as you push on the gas. That's what you used to do. You let out the clutch as you push on the gas. And if you do it in an equal amount, you don't roll back. You just go forward. But if you were to just do the clutch, you'd go back. If you have to put the gas on in an equal amount. And after a while, you learn how to do that, Now that I think about it, if I could do that, I must still be able to drive a car.
You should run a car someday and drive around Manhattan.
Yeah, I don't think I wonder if I could do a clutch these days. I probably could. I was so enamored of it. Once I got to automatic shifts, it was a completely different experience for me.
Well, that's a generational thing I think is gone now. Is when I was growing up, getting a car was a right to manhood, and now I think younger people today don't even want a car.
They don't?
No, they just use Uber and.
Really?
Yeah, they don't buy cars. Young kids, no.
Really, I thought young kids would want a car, just like because it means, as you say, what it meant to us was liberation.
Yeah.
We had a car. We could go somewhere. If we were still living at home. Hey, Mom, Dad, I'm going out. You got in the car and you went.
It was also a rolling motel room.
That too. I always made sure I had enough room in the back seat. I always made sure of that. The first time I ever had sex was in the back of a 1939 Pontiac Torpedo, which I owned.
The Torpedo.
Do you know the Pontiac Torpedo?
I've heard of it. Yeah.
It was a great car. I mean, it had great looks. Although I painted it pink. I don't know why. I just
Pink. Wow.
it needed a paint job, so I got spray painted. I don't think I did it pink. I think the guy I bought it from did it. See, here's what happened. I bought this car from a friend of mine who used to get laid a lot. And I figured if he got laid a lot, if I had a car, I would get laid a lot if I bought his car, that it had this magic thing about it. So I bought it, and eventually that was the car I first had sex in. And my first sexual experience was in the back seat of a 1939 Pontiac Torpedo painted pink. On the right in back where in Marin County the Civic Center is.
Sure.
Well, in those days there was a lot of woods right in back of it. There was nothing there. Okay. And I parked there, and we started having sex. And quite frankly, I don't know whether I put it in or not. I don't know whether I hit a crease in her leg or whatever. It was just so horrible, such a horrible experience. So I said, can we do this again at my place on Monday? So she said, sure.
It'll be better.
She said, sure. We went to my place and did it on Monday. So I don't know if my first sexual experience was that. All right? So I'm trying to figure it out. But that was my first sexual experience in the back seat of a Pontiac Torpedo.
And it was commemorated by Frank Lloyd Wright building his last building in that.
That's correct. That's absolutely correct. So it was. I thought it was an interesting experience. I had a good time, and that was the beginning of my sexual career. Wow. But when you have did you ever remember this one? When did you have your first sexual experience?
I was like 21. It was old.
I was 19. I was 19. I think.
Was that common back then?
In those days, I think most people lost their virginity somewhere around 18, 19. Women would hold on to theirs like it was something precious.
Yeah.
I'm going to remain a virgin till I'm married. No guy wants to marry a woman who isn't a virgin. Really?
Remember that?
Yeah. I'm sorry, I do. I really do. I want to know that she has experience, and I'm not teaching her anything. So it's yeah. So that's my story on that.
I got to look up the 39 Torpedo. It sounds like a very cool car.
But what was your first? Where was your first experience?
Believe it or not, it was the Mustang Ranch.
No.
Yes.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Is that where you got the phrase, "Are you open? I have cash"?
Yeah, it kind of came from that. I'd seen, I was 21. I saw there was an article about it on the on Cron here at the.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought next time I went up to Reno, I went out there and tried it, and it was, oh my God, it was so cheap. It was $15.
$15?
1973.
Was that for a full sexual experience or just a blowjob? Or yeah, okay. And so then what was your first non-professional experience?
That came at 23. A girl I met here in San Francisco.
So after you went to the Mustang Ranch, did you go back to the Mustang Ranch again? Because there's this period of time there between 21 and 23.
I think I went back out there like 10 years later with some friends from Ohio came out here, so we all took them up there.
I went over there once, and I just found it such a sterile experience.
It was kind of sterile. The girls were nice.
The girls, they could be the nicest in the world, but they're faking orgasms, so they're probably faking liking me, too.
Yeah.
So I never felt it was a genuine experience, and I was the kind of guy, I wanted to conquer, okay? So the idea that I walk in, I pay a woman X number of dollars, and then she does whatever she does with me, just never appealed to me.
It's not that appealing, but I think it's to have it legal like that and regulated versus some woman getting killed on the street, or it's such a much better way to do it.
Yeah. Well, Larry, we've run out of time once again.
Just when we were rolling on hookers.
Yeah. Another portion with Larry Bubbles Brown not being able to see his ugly mug on Zoom. Thanks, Larry. We'll talk to you next week.
You got it.
Okay, bye.
Now in our 6th year, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
And our good friend Larry Bubbles Brown. We love Larry, don't we? Everybody loves Larry. How can you not love Larry? He just, I don't know anybody in the world who has a bad thing to say about Larry Bubbles Brown. I got a whole wire sticking out here. It's bothering me. Oh, well, what the hell. Anyway, hi, how are you? What's happening? What's happening tonight? I hope that we are going to be doing this program and not going out of sync very much. I basically, because yesterday I went and I have 2 Brios, Logitech Brios. These are cameras. They're 4K cameras. That's why I look so gorgeous right now. Gorgeous. Anyway, so I got 2 of them, and I have one for a machine over here and one for this machine. And then I suddenly realized that I was running the same video camera on my switcher that I was on Zoom, and that was causing somewhat of a lag. Okay, so I brought the other camera over here and worked pretty well the last couple of nights. Last night especially, just perfect. Never went out of sync. But we did go out of sync a little bit in the show as I went back and looked at it, but I don't think that has anything to do with the camera. So I decided, well, I still need a camera for over here. So last night at $200, I went out and ordered a new camera for this machine. So I have 2 of them on this machine, and this thing just keeps costing me money, and I don't know why I do it. I mean, I'm not making any profit off of this thing. Come on, Anyway, I think it's time for me to bring in some of the people here for our program tonight, for our panel, as it were. And let me see here. We still do we have who we got there? Well, we got Robert Natali. Good to see you tonight, Robert.
Alex,
how are you doing?
Hello.
Good. And also, let me see here. There's Trucker Steve and his sidekick Rocky, who probably isn't having anything to do with him now because he goes, I went out on the road with you for so many days. I don't have to see you now, right? He's
upstairs with Mom.
He's got an attitude. And Dan Meyer is here, ladies and gentlemen. Well,
good evening.
No relation to Phil, and he's happy to.
Not that I know of. I mean, could be, maybe. But
it could be. And, of course, Alan is there, and the lovely and attractive, and he's still snowed in there, Charlie, or was it nicer today?
It was nicer today. Sun came out. Snow is actually starting to melt. It got up to 40 degrees. So, hey.
Okay, so now all that snow.
First time in a week.
Now all that snow melts and is causing the problem of flooding and stuff, right?
You know what I saw online today?
probably will.
Yeah. What
I saw online today, some people are getting $10,000 electric bills from Texas.
Yeah, I've heard that. I can't believe that.
Wait a minute. $10,000 electric bills from Texas?
Yeah.
What for?
I saw the story online. I can see if I can find it.
Mills.
Well, it's got to be
supply and demand, and since there's such a demand for electricity, now they're jacking up the price some places.
But not to $10,000 for crying out loud.
That's what the article said.
Let's see.
Aren't there laws in the state of Texas about how much these facilities can charge? Huh?
Well, Texas is unregulated.
I'll say.
Yeah, exactly.
Texas has their own power grid.
Yeah,
They
they
don't
separated
want anybody
it
else's.
from the
I don't know if you can see the article.
Yeah. Well, I can't see it. We can't see it, but I believe you. I believe
Yeah, I
you.
read the same article. I was stunned.
Yeah. You haven't gotten a $10,000 electric bill yet?
No, my electric bill was $60 last night.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is NBCnews.com
Yeah.
on their website.
Yeah.
Yep, I read it. Yeah.
Yeah, I see it too.
Between that and your senators, geez almighty.
Oh, goodness.
Right, Robert?
Ted
But I
Cruz.
went. Yeah.
I owe Ted Cruz an apology.
Do you really?
Yeah, back when he was running for president, I told people all he cares about is Texas. I was wrong.
He doesn't even care about Texas.
No.
He doesn't even care about Texas, right?
No, I was wrong.
Yeah, no, he doesn't even care about Texas. Wait a minute, I gotta put my thing back here. I was sitting up too high here. Hold on a second, folks. Oh, there we go. Okay. Anyway, I don't like that either. I'll go back to it the way it was. Excuse me, I got to be comfortable. Do you mind?
Okay.
Do you mind? If I'm
Okay, that's fine. What I was going to say about Ted Cruz was, I mean, what kind of half a man is he with how can his wife even look at him after he's like, Trump calls his wife ugly and he'll screw his whole career for Trump. His whole career will go down the tubes for him.
What do you expect from a woman named Heidi?
Yeah, she's a piece of work too.
Yeah,
well, okay. Sure. I don't really know much about
Here's
it.
where the big mistake was, okay, with Cruz. Okay, I understand.
He was born.
Their kids don't like freezing in the house, okay? So you want to send the kids to Cancun to give them a little respite from this horrible weather that you have in Texas. I understand that. So you send them to Cancun, but you don't go with them. That's the difference here. I can understand wanting to send the kids away, get them out of harm's way, whatever. But if you're the senator from that state, you don't go to Cancun while all hell is breaking loose back in your home state. Not that there's anything he can do about it, but he can be there for support, right?
And it just looks terrible.
God. I mean,
Beto was bringing meals to 1 million Texans.
Was he really?
During the freeze.
Yeah. And he wasn't even a senator.
Cruz could have done something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a lot of things that Cruz could have done, but he didn't do any of it. So,
Could have killed himself and saved the country a lot of grief.
A lot of grief, yeah. Hello there, Kevin, and hello to Josh.
How you doing? Hi, Alex.
How you guys doing?
Good. Getting ready to go to Cancun.
Are you? Yeah. I
figured it's a great place to go.
Yeah. And when the weather's like it is, come on.
Hell yeah. If I was Charlie, I'd be on a plane.
I can't even get out of my driveway.
Well, I'll call Ted Cruz. He'll help you.
They'll have the Houston police come escort you to the plane.
I think Ted Cruz should buy tickets to Cancun to any Texan who wants to go.
Yeah. But I mean, it's just, and what was worse, he not only went to Cancun, but he sent out a text to all his friends to join him there, and he would pay for their stay in Cancun.
And he abandoned his dog.
Yeah, he left his dog in the cold.
Yes, the dog. You know what the dog's name is?
Snowflake.
Snowflake.
What a fucking
This
idiot.
story just keeps giving. It just keeps giving and giving and giving.
And didn't his wife call them and say that it was really cold at home?
Yeah.
His wife texted him or something and said something like, "Oh, it's really cold at home" or some shit.
Well, what I love was his thing that he went with them all the way to Cancun, but then he was going to turn around and come back because after all, come on, he wasn't planning on coming back. He just heard about the blowout back home over his leaving.
Pretty big suitcases with.
It's
Jimmy
just
Kimmel showed a picture of him on the aircraft and said, "Ooh, snake on a plane."
I think I saw a meme to that effect. Yeah. I mean, he and then seeing him in his T-shirt tucked in. Oh my God, the T-shirt tucked in, and him walking around in his flip-flops or whatever throughout the airport, trying to get a plane back home. Yeah, just amazing. Just amazing.
He had to fly coach. He couldn't get upgraded to first class.
And if you weren't planning on staying down there, why the suitcase?
Yeah, right.
You know, I mean, it just, but the trouble is, he isn't up for election for about 2 years, for about 3 years, but it's 4 years. Hence is the election. But let's say give him
4 years.
Yeah. By that time, Texans are going to forget. That's what the problem is.
Yeah.
You know, they're just going to forget what the hell went on.
Yep.
You know, so I mean, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen with Ted Cruz? Of course, back here in New York, we got a governor in a lot of trouble. You know, today he went on the air. He went on his little podcast. I think it lasted 2 hours. And he was constantly in those 2 hours just talking continually about this situation. He even had his Dr. Zucker, explain what went on to try and excuse his behavior. And he was just trying to do so much of a mea culpa that you began to think maybe he is guilty of something. You know, it was just like he was you know how you can overtalk it, you know? You can just say, hey, look, we made some mistakes back then, blah, 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 but we got them corrected now, and believe it, you know, I really do care about everybody, and we didn't mean to lie. There were reasons why. Maybe have Dr. Zucker explain. Dr. Zucker went into a half-hour explanation on how the hospitals were full, and we had to let the people go and go back to the nursing homes. But and after it's all over, I'm going, well, I didn't think this guy was that terribly guilty, but now I've kind of changed my mind, you know, because he's just spinning it so badly. Did you hear any of it, Robert?
Nervous, you know.
Because you're in New Jersey. Did you hear any of it?
No, I actually didn't.
Yeah. And so to make up for it, he's allowing the restaurants to have 35% occupancy. Yeah. And his excuse on that one is almost as bad as Cruz's is about why he went to Cancun. He said the reason that we're going to go to 35% is because it's 35% in New Jersey, and we don't want people leaving New York to go to New Jersey for dinner. Does that make sense at all? Like, I don't know about you.
Again, they're back to normal.
I live in Manhattan. I don't think I'm going to New Jersey simply because they can fit 10 more people in. You know? I just don't think I'm going for that reason. Maybe because there's some really good Italian food over there, but that's about it. You know? There is. That's about it. Yeah. But we have a lot of bad behavior on the parts of people. What do you think about this bad behavior, Josh? Come on.
Who's bad behavior? Cuomo's?
Cuomo's and Ted Cruz. You know.
Well, I mean, the Texas thing, you know, with Cruz is not really all that unexpected. I mean, I think Cruz is a selfish guy. He's not a good guy. I mean, that's pretty clear. The Texas thing is a little bizarre. I mean, I understand, you know, their power grid situation and, you know, that they lost power and a lot of that kind of stuff. I mean, it's just, I don't know. People here, I mean, I'm not saying I don't have like a empathy for them or whatever, but people here are like, God damn, it's like that here for 6 months out of the year. I mean, the fuck's going on? I mean, I just can't believe they can't survive because the weather got bad.
Well, but you see, you got to realize that where you live, it's Ohio, right? Am I right? Yeah. In Ohio, you're used to that. You know, you're used to that kind of weather. We're used to it here. I mean, the minute a couple of little flakes start falling on the ground, I hear the snow plows outside scraping the concrete to it fairly well.
Ain't no snow plows in Texas.
Right.
No snow plows in Texas. Exactly.
Yeah.
And you are just
And
not
I'm
ready
glad
for
I'm
that kind
bison.
of weather. You were saying last night you don't even own a pair of galoshes, so you couldn't go out.
No, I couldn't get to my car.
That's
for
right.
2 days.
Yeah.
Just out in the parking lot.
Right. So, I mean, it's just a perfect example of the difference. So for you, Josh, when it snows, you're ready for it. You've got the scraper for the windshield, and you've got, whatever you need to take care of it. But the guys in
doesn't
Texas.
explain the electrical grid situation, though.
Oh, well, no, but
that was
I get it that they're not prepared for bad weather, but a couple of accidents on the road and so forth, I get that too.
Yeah.
But the electrical grid situation is an abomination, it seems.
They they stepped on their own weenies doing that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's their own fault for isolating themselves.
Yeah.
Well,
that's been going on for years.
No, but you know what they're blaming it on? What they're blaming it on? Some of these Republicans in Texas. Tell me if I'm wrong about this, Charlie. They're blaming it on what do you call it? Green power.
Yeah, they're blaming it on
frozen windmills.
Because their windmills froze up. Well, the reason their windmills froze up is because they bought cheap fucking windmills.
Right.
All right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you can cross I-90 through northern Illinois and Wisconsin and the deserted areas on the plains of southern Minnesota and those places, and they're chock full of windmills. And I'm pretty sure it gets cold there for more than 15 minutes at a time.
Exactly.
So,
They have windmills in Antarctica.
Well, isn't there something about that Texas didn't become part of a federal plan?
Right. They refused to. They withdrew from it and completely separated our grid from the national grid.
So they didn't build it.
on that railroad commission, right?
People down here.
So they didn't build
What the hell's
it.
a railroad commission that they don't have running the grid for?
But they didn't. What happened is they didn't build it to spec, right? That's what the problem was.
They don't have the insulation and stuff like you have and the de-icing methods that you have up north.
Yeah, that's been that way for years. The plants are not insulated. Even the plants that I used to deal with down there from my company, they would overbuild and insulate things, and the other plants around them did not. Why aren't they doing that? Even if it's Texas, they don't do that shit down there. Why?
They don't insulate pipes.
Shit
That's
could
why
happen.
we lose water. All the pipes burst because it's Texas. We don't freeze in Texas.
Texas does a lot of shit that they don't need to do, and they don't do it unless something happens, and then they'll do it. It's a reactive state.
Also, there is no belief in that part of the world in global warming.
Nope.
Now,
they're
you're
in
seeing,
a fossil world.
We've seen wildfires in California. We've seen this happening in Texas. We've seen other things happening elsewhere. It's all part of global warming. When are they going to get the message that this is global warming?
I was in the chemical business.
We don't believe in that science.
I was in the chemical storage business, and whenever I couldn't store something in California, send it to Texas.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
That's what we did.
Absolutely. Our spec nuclear rods.
I had limits on certain chemicals that I could store in California. I would get to that point. There was some chemicals that I would have to cross dock. And cross dock meant they come in, they sat on a dock for 24 hours, and they had to be gone. And some of it was so toxic that if it didn't leave in 24 hours, they had people knocking on my door saying, "Get that shit out of here or you're going to jail." And I had stuff that would come from Henderson, Nevada, and had to go to Texas before it came to me because I had to ship it over to China. So in order for it to not stay in my place, if I couldn't meet a ship at the right time, it had to go to Texas to sit there and then come to me and then go to China.
Yes.
They'll just take it. Stick it in the backyard. We'll put it there.
I
governor.
know,
Mr. Larkin.
I know people are going to be offended by it.
John Larkin has something to say, folks.
That governor of Texas was going on about, look what happened if we had the Green New Deal, blah, blah, blah. Denver and Norway get almost all of their energy from solar and wind, and
Yep.
it's a lot fucking colder up there than it is in Texas.
Well, that's because they buy the windmills that are lubricated or something or don't freeze up. Okay.
Yeah, they're smart. They fucking know it's cold, so they figure it out and build it the right way.
I mean, when you go out and buy your windmills from the cheapest bidder, I think you're going to run into trouble. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, it is a different situation in Texas. They're probably not going to see this problem for another 5 years. Maybe it won't happen again for another 10. This is a freak. Yes, Alan.
So if it never gets cold enough to get a heater in a state, let's just say, for instance, it never got cold enough to have a heater in your house.
Right.
And 1 year out of 100, you have a cold snap like this, everything's going to freeze up because you're not prepared. And it's hard to be prepared when you don't know when it's going to happen. So the windmills in real cold areas have heaters that wrap around the outside of it and around everything. It's an electrical heater that warms up and heats up to keep the equipment going. In Texas, they probably didn't have that because who would have known this was going to happen?
I don't need that. Yeah.
Well, but don't you when you do stuff like this, don't you get prepare for any eventuality?
No.
You know, you should. You know, I mean, what are you saying, Brian?
We live in California.
Mm-hmm.
We have earthquakes.
Yes.
How often does a big one that's going to bring something down, but we prepare like crazy?
Absolutely.
Buildings are built to specifications that are anti,
the seismic
refitting and whatever, you know.
My new factory, we just anchored everything down, and maybe the big one never happened, but we.
Well, I remember when we had the big Loma Prieta quake back in, what was it, 69, something like that.
89.
89.
69.
I can't remember.
I was 2 years old.
Oh, shut up. Loma Prieta quake. Everybody was talking about the fact that they were going in, like in the marina, because they were old buildings and they hadn't been made to deal with earthquakes, you know. So what they did is they retrofitted it by building rolling foundations. And what these were foundations that if there was an earthquake, they would roll. There was some sway. Because the problem is, if you got something anchored to the ground and then there's an earthquake and then it starts shaking, it just shakes it till it falls down. But if you have a rolling foundation, it just moves back and forth. And so they learned that. And so now if you had another earthquake like we had in 1989, you wouldn't have the same kind of destruction that you had during that earthquake because they're ready for it. But you live and you learn, you know.
Well, we're ready here in California for earthquakes. So how many buildings in New York, even the skyscrapers, are built to that standard? Not very many. Maybe the newer buildings.
I would be willing to say that probably there isn't a building on this island that is built on a rolling foundation.
Okay,
even though,
what happens if an earthquake happens?
Even though,
then
wait
you're
a minute,
stupid as Texas?
Even though there is a fault running right through Central Park.
Wow.
Yeah, but
what I'm saying though is if you're not prepared in New York for an earthquake that may never happen, this is kind of like Texas. They weren't prepared for this because it doesn't happen.
Yeah, but you know something? I got to tell you, they've had other problems. I mean, remember the floods in Houston?
Oh yeah. And
that was a freak too. Yeah. But these freaks seem to be happening a lot to Texas, and Texas doesn't.
That's okay.
It's a regular thing now.
Right, to have more and more.
Charlie, get out.
Yes, maybe it's time to go back to Arizona. Oh no, wait a minute, they got
Chicago. Chicago.
Yeah, back to Chicago.
Yeah.
It's too cold up there.
Yeah,
but they're used to it.
All I know is I lived in Houston for how many years, Scott?
I don't know.
About 3, 4, 5 years. I don't know. I can't remember how many now. I'm so out of it. I don't remember my whole life anymore. But I don't remember us ever having anything coming close to snow or even weather that was cold enough to have snow.
No.
You know,
we've gone many years without it ever getting below freezing during the winter.
Right. Right.
Oh. So to go 8 straight days without it ever getting above freezing was just ridiculous.
Yeah. So I mean, I just I'm amazed at it.
It's hard to be prepared for every weather event everywhere in the world or in the country.
Yeah. Here's another thing that's come up today. This one I don't get, and maybe Brian can chime in on this, and Alan seems to know something about this, and that's with the vaccines. Have you heard the latest on the vaccines?
There's news every day.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
The news today is that in England, they've come out with a report that says that the Pfizer, and it is also believed the Moderna, with one shot is 90% effective.
So I read the Wall Street Journal and it said 80% after 8 weeks, and it was in Israel. They did a study with, I don't remember how many, 2,000-3,000 people, and gave them one shot. Just tried to do the one shot route, and they found that they're 80% protected after 8 weeks or something like that with one shot of the Pfizer, is what they said. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I read.
Well, what they're coming out with now is they're saying in England that after, I don't know, not even that much, after something like about 6 weeks, the Pfizer is 90% effective, and there are reports saying the Moderna is also 90% effective after about maybe 4 or 5 weeks, 5 weeks, maybe 6 weeks. So now the talk going around to just not give the second dose immediately or as fast as we've been giving it, so we can get more first doses into arms. I don't know. Do you feel comfortable with that?
Yeah, I don't. We had one of our smartest people. He talked at our all hands people leader meeting a couple days ago, and they still have a lot of stuff that they're learning.
That's right.
And there's like New England Journal. They're still arguing amongst each other about when you should have your second shots. All that stuff. With the mRNA, is still so new. Even though it's been 20 years they've had it, but they've only used it on animals. It's the first time they use it on humans. So there's still so much that they're learning from it. But
that's right. So there's, the news next week will say that you need 1.5 shots. Who the hell knows? I mean, it's half shot. Actually, the Israeli thing that was published today in England made it to the Lancet, which is like the CDC in the UK. Yeah. And so they're highly recognized. And
no, the Lancet isn't like the CDC. The Lancet is the medical journal of
okay, like JAMA, the Journal of American Medicine.
Right.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyhow, but it made it into that, and they said it's not been peer reviewed, meaning people in the field have not looked at the evidence. Just Israel put it out, and I mean, they don't know statistically if it'll work. Like Brian said, we're in the learning phase, and it would be great if they can give one vaccine. It would last. What Dr. Fauci said was he's concerned that giving only one shot of this medicine may not be enough to protect against the variances or that are changing, and or it may not protect for very long, maybe a couple months.
Yeah.
So, but they don't know. All. I'm sorry,
and
Brian.
he was really talking also about how the mRNA, you have these 95%, that chance of not getting it, but usually the vaccines are about 60 to 65% usually, and even the Johnson & Johnson is going to be low. It's going to be like a 66% effectiveness. So, and it's only one shot. So,
well, 66%.
No controls. So there's normal environment. So
yeah, so the 66 is pretty good considering on an average year, the vaccine for the flu is about 40%. So
yeah, and they say, but very effective against severe disease.
Now
Yep,
the other
I
thing,
heard the same thing.
the other thing they were saying about about both of the vaccines is that if you have at least one in you, and then let's say you come down with COVID, that you will not get a deadly case of COVID. That it will
I think
mitigate.
they're looking into that.
It will mitigate that. So
think
my
they're looking
question
into that.
is, we didn't know very much about these vaccines when we put them out to the general public, do we?
Well,
Not when you use emergency use only.
Yeah,
Right.
of course
Emergency
not.
use only is the rush stuff. When you're doing normal, I mean, especially with the vaccines, years to try to get everything going. But yeah, they're rushing out with the best information possible.
Like
That's
I'm
right.
I'm wearing a hat right now because a foot has started growing out of my head. So I don't know if that had something to do with the.
Does
the
it have
shot
toe
that I-
jam?
Yeah, a little bit, And by the way, tomorrow it'll be 1 week to my my next shot. So,
Me too. Can't get mine
Today is
tomorrow.
1 week to my next shot.
What?
Today is 1 week till my next shot.
Really?
Yeah, so I'm getting ahead of you. So there.
Well, of course, everybody's ahead of me. Haven't you heard the story? Haven't you heard about my constant
Yes,
griping?
I
Yes.
know, yeah.
Robert, have you heard about this?
I'm not ahead of you.
You're not
I
ahead.
haven't gotten my first yet.
Why can't you get your first?
God damn it, you got to pay attention. New Jersey doesn't have vaccines. It doesn't have supply. In my county, we're being given 500 doses a week for a county that has 50,000.
Oh, jeez.
Oh,
Wow.
for goodness sakes.
I can't get a first shot yet.
Yeah, Anaheim, they start Southern California. They start closing all those big facilities that they opened because they're not getting there. They had a Moderna shipment that was supposed to be there Tuesday, and like Thursday they were complaining that it hadn't shown up yet. Northern California is doing really good though.
I understand problems in California, problems in Texas as an example for a second shot. You've had a shot already, right, Charlie?
I had the first one. I was supposed to have the second one tomorrow, but it's all shut down here.
See?
You got to ski there.
Yeah.
No, I mean what's happened is that a lot of the country has shut down and isn't getting the shots out, the vaccine out because of the weather.
Refrigerators don't work. They have to be real cold, right? So
No, now you know the newest thing? They don't have to be cold.
Oh, I never heard that.
They say
It's also not
Pfizer's
frozen.
negative 30 deep freeze, and then the Moderna is negative 20.
Oh, wait a minute, but
25.
they said today now that
Well,
the
that's-
that the Pfizer could be stored under normal refrigeration.
Wow.
I
They
mean,
don't know that for sure. It's just, news. They're looking at it.
well, I mean, if that's true, then a lot of people went out and bought these big freezers for nothing.
Yes, and I'm trying to get freezers for my new factories, and they're pushing out the dates. Thermo Fisher keeps pushing out the dates, and I need these for my manufacturing lines.
I own stock in them. I'll call them for you, Brian.
Yeah, yeah. So you can't so you haven't, Robert. You haven't even been able to make an appointment.
That's right.
Boy.
I see. Yeah, Robert, a friend of the show, he lives over there too, near you, and yeah, he says that he can't, and he's at a special area that for living and these programs and seeing people with smokers going in there before him, and he has emphysema issues from never smoking, and just locked out.
A couple weeks ago in the news, they talked about 3 states that are not getting vaccines. I brought this up in the show. Robert was on the show, and New Jersey is one of the worst. For I don't know what reason, but it just
neither.
Wow.
Well, I mean, here in New York, I mean, they keep saying, "Oh, we're opening up all these new facilities, and we're just opened up a big giant facility here and a big giant facility there," and I'm going, "Wait a minute!" And then you're telling me you don't have enough.
Yeah.
Why are you opening up new facilities? Makes no sense.
Make the mayor look good.
To make the governor look good. He'd open up McDonald's for vaccinations if he could, just to look good. It's just amazing. And your governor over in New Jersey. Is he kind of a douchebag or what?
No, actually, he's a pretty cool guy, and he's actually proactive and so forth. You can't blame. I mean, I don't see where you can blame the governor for the fact that they're just not getting adequate number of doses. I really don't.
Well,
What
big
about your state health department?
The state health department does a fabulous job because we've had other crises and so forth that we went through, like the rest of the country. We were forerunners and so forth. So, I don't think it's a governmental issue. I think way back when the vaccines came out, there was no fucking plan. Yeah. Think back to when you were a kid and they gave the Sabin, piece of sugar and shit.
Yeah,
I remember that.
You showed up at your local school. You gave them your name. They handed you a piece of sugar and you went home. It was all worked out.
Yes.
Today,
absolutely.
It's a clusterfuck. Nobody planned anything.
That's right.
It's catch as catch can.
Well,
So
part of the problem was that a certain person who shall go nameless didn't order enough of the stuff. When he was offered about 100 million more doses, he didn't order them.
Yeah.
So that's part of the problem. Now Pfizer, Moderna have to play catch up, and how fast they can play catch up, they can only send those things out there as fast as they possibly can.
Well,
and they're not just supplying us, by the way; they're supplying the rest of the world too.
Right. So I don't know how many people have ever heard of Kaiser. It's a large HMO here in California.
Yeah, I've heard of it. As Bubbles used to refer to it, it's also referred to as doctor-assisted suicide.
Yeah, good people, good medicine, good luck. But
Kaiser's very good now.
It is very good. I have it, and so they're complaining that they have the money and the assets to go buy it directly from Pfizer or Moderna or whoever.
But you can't do it.
But the government won't allow it.
In fact, our governor got a hold of Pfizer, which is a New York State run company,
right.
And said, we'd like to buy some from you, and they said can't do it. The government won't let us sell it to individuals.
But should it really come to that, where governors have to make side deals with companies, and that does is it leads to further inequities,
Same thing they were doing with the PPE. They're doing the same thing.
Yep.
They started doing that shit with the masks.
Did you see?
That was old Trumpy working his work.
Did you see these two women dressed in full PPE gear, the masks and everything, trying to get their shot in California?
Yeah.
And it turned out they were like 18. But they were trying to pass themselves off as 65.
Oh, I thought that was in Florida.
Was it Florida?
Okay. I think so.
Yeah, there was one was 45 and one was 34 or something.
Yeah, or something like that. But it was just.
But they were there for their second shot, so apparently it worked the first time.
Really?
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe you need to dress up like a little old lady, Robert.
I'm 70. How much older can I be?
How are these people getting their shots and I'm still waiting for my second one? Okay,
Alex, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm going to gripe about this until I get my second shot.
It's a conspiracy directed directly at you, Alex.
It is. No, it's just, it's just.
Wait a minute. Alex has got his first shot. Robert's got nothing.
Yeah, Robert's got nothing. I feel sorry for Robert.
Yeah.
Robert, come get my second shot, okay?
Okay, thanks, Alex. That was mighty big.
I'll give you my papers and everything, because the second shot's just like the first shot,
Thanks.
So.
Why don't you move
I have to be an 81-year-old former radio star of the Jewish faith.
Yeah.
Well, you look Jewish enough. You live in New Jersey.
Jeff, you had something you were going to say there? Jeff?
Well, I think, Robert, why don't you move to Connecticut?
You know what? I've considered it on a couple of occasions. I love certain areas in Connecticut.
Well, it's good. Apparently, it's one of the best places to get injected.
There you go.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Well,
so how come you had to go to Yale? It wasn't.
Well, yeah, because that's the best
place to go.
Oh, I see. Okay, but
in
you
Connecticut, but there's other good places.
but
too,
you were supposed to get it somewhere else in Connecticut, and
yes,
yeah,
it was like right down the street.
yeah.
Alex,
And the reason it was canceled is because of the snow.
Right. But
Okay.
And that's what's happened to other people
yeah,
too.
sure. That's not the big problem.
But I had my smart wife signed up 2 places.
Yeah.
And the first one canceled me because of the snow.
And the other one didn't.
And the other one was like 3 days later.
Jeff,
Bingo.
I've signed up in so many places. I think at some point I may be drafted because I started to lose track of where I was putting my name and
You
address.
have a book.
Yeah, at some point, you know, they're gonna draft me into the Navy or something.
Now, Kevin, you haven't gotten yours yet, or have you gotten yours?
No, not yet. I'm
Not
on a
yet.
list.
That you're on a list, but you're not set for a date yet, or
No, because we get about 200 or 300 shots at a time in our county of
in your
60,000.
county, huh? It's county run, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can't come up to Levi Stadium, huh?
No, I've heard that there's places I can go. I can go out of county now. So
good.
Levi Stadium. It was on
I had
Friday
my
when we
mom
got the
scheduled
letter.
to go there. My mother-in-law, but tonight we found a spot at Kaiser, so we're going to take her to Kaiser because Levi's. I guess you got to walk a ways to get there.
Yeah. I thought it was a drive-through, but actually you park and then you actually have to go into the luxury booth area.
And I don't know, were they offering wheelchair or anything there?
Yeah, they were.
Oh, they were?
They had
Okay,
wheelchairs right there at the front.
I thought they would.
But and Josh
I'm
doesn't
holding
even,
her appointment there in case
Josh
she gets
doesn't
through.
even give a crap about any of this because he's too young to get the shot, right, Josh?
I don't know what the rules are for it. I don't know anything about the vaccine.
Really? Do you care?
No.
Really? You aren't afraid of getting the COVID?
Not really.
Josh has this attitude. If I get it, I get it. You know.
I mean, I don't want to get it, but I just cannot talk about the vaccine nonstop like some people can.
Yeah.
I don't care. You got to make an appointment and go to a play at a. I can't.
Plus, they're not even offering it to anybody that in that age group yet. Anyway, so why worry about it?
Yeah, exactly.
I got to get my mom to. I had to deal with my mom and my mother-in-law and all that. I'm worried about them.
Yeah.
Then I'll get mine shit done. That's it's a pain in the ass, but
Alan.
You
gotta
could
get
get
it
them
done.
Wait, hold on a second. Alan had his hand up. Alan.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Kevin, Kaiser is inoculating people here in the Bay Area from anywhere in California that is a caretaker at any age. And your mother, you could claim you're a caretaker of your mother or your grandmother or whoever you said is going to go there to Kaiser and get an appointment, and you guys can both get inoculated at the same time. It's happening.
I'm not taking care of her. I'm taking care of my mom, who's not Kaiser.
Right. I understand she got the first one, but you're a
She's
caretaker. Kaiser is inoculating people that are not Kaiser members.
Yeah, I think most of these places that are inoculating have to take anybody who can sign up there.
It's federal law.
Also, there's another thing now where the federal government
Hey,
is
worry
now
about it.
assigning a
All right.
certain amount of vaccines to, and you might check this out, Robert, to pharmacies. And it's independent of the state's supply.
Good luck.
Not yet.
Oh, really? You tried that already?
Oh, please.
Oh, okay. Well,
Connecticut,
Yes,
we've
Rite
got
Aid.
Walgreens. Yeah.
And they all say the same thing. We haven't got any.
really? And yet
Yeah,
the
we
government is supposed to be supplying them.
We check those sites once a half hour.
Wow.
Oh, please.
So you're on this constantly, right?
Between my wife and I, yeah. Because I have factors that make me somewhat at risk. And so it's important to me that I at least get this process started.
Yeah.
But there's not
Well,
much I can do about
age
it.
alone, Robert.
Yeah, no, I understand that.
Right.
Yeah. They were given shots. I'll give you another story about New Jersey. They were given shots at MetLife Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the super sites in New Jersey.
Right.
And some people we know went and had to stand online out in the freezing cold for 4 hours.
Wow.
And I can't even get an appointment for that indignity.
I'm going to go over tomorrow and take a look and see what the line's like at our place, because I'm going to get it in a week, and I want to see if there's a line or whether they've gotten that problem taken care of. Because the reason I had to wait in a line, they claimed, was because they had gotten going late that day. So there was a line for that reason. But
I think you ought to take Alex up and take his shot, Robert.
Yeah.
There you go.
Shot.
Yeah. What if I'm late for mine, or I don't show up for mine because of one reason or another?
They'll give it to somebody else.
No, I think they'll hold on to it for a week or something for you here in New York. Yeah,
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah. That you have a
Wow.
window that you can. I don't know where you would find out how you can get on that window, but whatever. Anyway, other news, and I think this is important news, and I think maybe it's something I want to throw out to this politically astute panel. Kim Kardashian filed for divorce from Kanye West today.
Oh,
Yeah, I saw that.
God.
So she won't be first lady?
No,
Yeah.
or the second, or the third.
I see.
Now, isn't she trying to get a law degree or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of a weird law degree where if you work as kind of a in an office working on cases with
Like paralegal,
you can get some kind of status which gets you towards being a lawyer. I don't know the exact-
celebrity status.
celebrity status. Yeah. But she's divorcing her husband of what is it, 4 years? I think it is. They're married. They have.
Isn't this like her second or third marriage?
I think this is her third marriage. Yeah. She.
And she's not even a cop.
Jeez almighty. But anyway, so that's the big news today. I thought maybe I'd throw that out to the panel.
Yeah.
It's very controversial.
Even bigger than Rush.
Even bigger than what?
Who?
No.
They're a couple days behind the news in Texas. They're talking about Rush now.
Yeah.
Oh, wasn't that today?
Yeah, Rush died today in Texas.
Yeah, he died tomorrow. Yeah.
I didn't find out about it until today.
Well, you should have known in Texas that it was that he died because all the flags in Texas were at half mast, weren't they?
Right, they were. Everyone
But
was
I haven't been
warning.
out to see any flags.
Yeah. Well, as I said the other night, I have a professional opinion of Rush, which is very positive, and I have a political opinion of Rush, which is very political. And the two are different. As a professional, I look at him and I go, he really was good at what he did. He was so good, in fact, that he set the zeitgeist for the times. I mean, in a lot of ways. And I think you have to give him a certain amount of credit for being able to do that. I think more people took him seriously than he took himself. Okay, so...
Well, Goebbels was good at propaganda, too.
Well,
right?
no, Goebbels is a different story.
Okay. Yeah, I know it's a different thing. I don't know the
Goebbels didn't have a radio show.
Yeah.
He used to keep me awake when I was driving at night.
Who, Goebbels?
No.
Oh,
Limbaugh.
Goebbels, yeah.
Yeah, and tell me, Kev, come on, how entertaining was he?
Oh, he was entertaining enough to, have me yelling in my truck when I was driving down the road.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Because they'd repeat them at night, and, I'd be doing a turn down to Kettleman City or something, and in the fog, and he'd start blasting off his shit, and I'd be yelling at myself in the truck, and you stupid idiot, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah.
Then you hear the other guys on the CB going, God damn that Rush Limbaugh, he's a genius, that son of a bitch.
Isn't it amazing how we yell at the TV set? I'll give you a good example. Marjorie, every time Donald Trump was talking on TV, she would yell at the screen, "Shut the fuck up."
Yeah, that's about right.
And I kept trying to tell her he can't hear her.
Yeah, it didn't work.
It doesn't work.
No, it just makes you feel better.
And proof of that was the next day he didn't shut the fuck up. Okay, no. So but I'm just amazed that she, that kind of like affected her.
Yeah, hey, but you feel like you have input,
huh?
How do you
feel like you have input?
Wait a minute, hold on a second. I didn't get to hear what Robert said. What?
How do you milk a sheep?
How do you milk a sheep?
Yeah, you tell them the election was rigged and you hit them up for a donation.
I got it.
That's sort of like where do they get virgin wool from? Ugly sheep.
No.
I never heard that one.
No.
The virgin wool?
Yeah, never heard that one. Never heard that one.
Yeah, sorry.
But my question is that once COVID gets cured, we don't have it anymore. What are we going to talk about? We haven't got Trump to talk about anymore.
He'll be back in the news.
By that time, he'll be up for re-election.
I mean, what kind of job do you think Biden's doing?
He's been on the job about 38 minutes.
Okay, but this is a country in which we judge people on 38 minutes.
I try my best not to.
Right.
Because I think he hit the ground running, and that's the most he could possibly do at this point.
And he's delightfully boring.
Yes,
he was dragging.
Yeah,
he was dragging a weight behind him when he hit the ground running because of the idiot that was in the White House before wouldn't give him information that he needed.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So considering all that considered, I have to give him a great deal of props for having taken care of everything. Okay,
I guess the big question is.
I think the 100 million in arm, vaccinations in the first 100 days. He put some really good goals there. So
yeah,
he really paid attention to what he said would be the number one thing.
Except not in New Jersey, obviously.
The stimulus, coronavirus stimulus bill, or whatever you want to call it, that they're trying to get passed, has got like 65% approval rating in the country. But all the Republicans are going to vote against it. So they've got to push it through with that reconciliation, which is bullshit. They should just get rid of the fucking filibuster and do everything in the Senate.
I don't know why. Who caved on the filibuster? There was another Democratic cave. Who caved on the filibuster? I don't remember the person's name, but
Manchin or whatever.
Oh, we got
Manchin, yeah,
Manchin and Benham up in Arizona.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It's pretty. It's going to be interesting to see what he can get done and can't get done.
Yeah.
There's somebody that's up for nomination now. It's up for approval, and it doesn't look like she's going to get it because one Democrat.
Right.
Huh?
Yeah.
You know who
West Virginia.
Yeah.
Joe Manchin.
You're a tandem or something?
So
yeah, it's Joe Manchin.
Yeah. Doesn't like her. Who is she? Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, they're a tandem.
What's her name?
She was in the Obama administration.
Wait a minute, hold on a second. What's her name?
Neera, Neera Tandon.
Okay, Neera Tandon. Yeah. And
she was in the Obama administration. I don't know what she did, but she's always on MS. She used to always be on MSNBC. Fucking tearing up all the stupid Trumpers. So that's why they don't want her. The Republicans are against her.
So what's Manchin?
Well, she got a weirdo name too, so they don't like that down there either.
Well, what has Manchin got against her? And I guess they're looking for a Republican now to vote for her.
She was mean to a Republican.
She was mean to a Republican?
Yeah, that's why he won't. Yeah. He's like, we don't.
Yeah.
This senator is like barely a Democrat anyway.
Yeah. Jeff had his hand up. What, Jeff?
Yeah, I was going to say, as far as Biden, I think he did a great job from what I've heard, about all the people that he hired.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not an expert to make that decision myself, but I've heard that from a lot of sources.
I think that's good information, Jeff.
Yeah.
Not appointing any nephews or nieces.
Qualified people, not ass-kissing cronies.
Yeah, there's good people around.
Well,
I know, they didn't call me up.
I think, Steve, that the good thing about him is Biden seems like the kind of guy that if you're working for him and you disagree with him, he doesn't mind people disagreeing with him. That he probably feels that's fine. That makes me honest. It makes me think twice about everything I'm doing. I mean, do you want a yes man for everything you do?
You want people with different opinions.
And we got to admit that the people in Trump's cadre felt like they were walking on glass. They couldn't. They just were afraid to say anything that didn't kowtow to what he believed and wanted to believe. What kind of an atmosphere is that? That's not a very creative atmosphere. Nothing gets done in an atmosphere like that. So, what have you.
All right. I just got a text from a friend of mine that lives in Perth Amboy, New Jersey. I don't know how close you are to that, Robert, but they are inoculating people 65 and older, and they have extra vaccines. And I don't know what that means.
I was just on their site today.
Yeah.
Okay.
They have extra right now. Head down, quick.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I don't know. But,
how far is Perth Amboy from you?
An hour.
An hour?
I would go, but we were on that site this afternoon.
Okay.
Then how come your friend says you can get him down there, and he's went to the site today and couldn't get an appointment?
I don't know. It's a mess. So who knows? I don't know. He got an appointment today. He's a little over 65. He got an appointment for early next week in Perth Amboy. So like I said, I didn't know how far you were. And I mean, the only thing I know about Perth Amboy is it's not a great neighborhood. Other than that, I don't know much about it.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm mistaken.
That's where the Amboy Dukes came from?
I think that there's
yes.
I've got a major I've had a major problem all along with the fact that I feel there should be some kind of pecking order in that if you're 65, why should you be getting it before a guy who's 75 or a person who's 75? Get what I'm saying? In other words, we should exhaust all of one group before we get to the next one. And then,
Alex, that's tough to pull off.
Right.
You're suggesting that there's this national database which exists for all mankind to look at to say, okay, 70s and up, form a line here. They don't have that information, and that information is scattered in different places.
Right.
And so it's not as easy as it sounds. Logically, that makes a great deal of sense.
Yeah.
But I ran databases for a living in the school district, and it's a difficult thing to pull off.
But I don't know if this has to do with databases as much as it has to do with, say, can we call it pecking order? Let's face it, somebody who's 75 or somebody who's 80 has a better chance of dying from this thing than a guy who's 75.
Not necessarily.
More so than a guy who's 70 or the guy who's 65.
In most cases.
But then there are mitigating factors. The guy that's 75 might be, diabetic to the point where he injects insulin. And, the 75-year-old might be have COPD. The 80-year-old might be as healthy as you are, for crying out loud. So, then there are healthcare workers that come into it.
See, now, here was the part that got me. Healthcare workers, absolutely, first in line. They should be there getting the shots because they're the ones become most exposed to this, and they need the shots first of all. But now we say, should we be giving them to teachers? What?
But here we go. Then you have to sit there and define what's a healthcare worker. Is a woman who's a receptionist at my doctor's office a healthcare worker? Like everything like that has to be defined.
They're defining, the latest thing is comorbidities. Now they're allowing people with comorbidities to get the shots as well and have them available to them. And what's a comorbidity? Smoking,
obesity,
asthma.
So you're saying I should feel guilty because I got my shot? I'm 51, but I'm a teacher, so
the fact that I hate the fuck out of you shouldn't get you down.
So Robert, are you still in contact with the school district or anything? Because
no,
this friend of mine is a retired school teacher in Perth Amboy, and the school district, he reached out to them because they're starting to inoculate teachers.
Mm-hmm.
I've been retired for 13 years.
Okay.
Okay. So,
sorry, trying to help.
Oh, that's fine. Brian's got his hand up. Brian.
Yeah, the school district just sent us an email today saying that they're bumping them up on the 28th, February 28th. Teachers will start getting the shots.
They should have been getting them all along. I mean, you know, the kids come to class. Kids are not as liable to come down with something as the teachers are, but the kids come to class with cooties. Those cooties are blowing their way all during, you know.
And getting those little brats to cover up their noses is a pain in the ass. I'll tell you from firsthand experience.
Okay. Yes, Jeff.
I have one suggestion for Robert, and because my daughter is doing it, you can go and volunteer and get a shot.
Early. Oh, you're talking about volunteering to take people to the?
No, to be at the wherever the facilities are. You introduce people and check through the checklist. What's your name? What's your address?
Yes, thank you, but no.
How old are you? Show me your driver's license.
He shouldn't have to do that.
No, thanks.
The man is over 60. He's over 65. He's got.
I'm not trying to say that he's not justified, but I'm saying there's another way to get in.
Yeah, no, I'll wait. Thank you. I appreciate your help, but that's not something I want to do.
Yeah, but you know, the fact is that he is. How old are you now, Robert? 70. Mm-hmm. You have some comorbidities, some problems that are mitigating.
Yes.
You should be in the front of that line.
Sure.
You should be. In fact, you probably should be there ahead of me. To be honest with you, you know.
Is New York inoculating people from out of state?
Is New York inoculating people from out of state? I do not know that. You know, I really don't know that.
I don't know either.
I know that they said that they have a place in the Bronx. they're using Yankee Stadium, and they told people that you can go there, but you have to live in the Bronx, and you have to, at least for the first week or 2 weeks or something like that, in order to get a shot at this facility in the Bronx, because the Bronx has had a higher incidence of COVID and COVID-related deaths and everything else than any other borough in New York City. So they're allowing people to go there, and also it's areas where they have the least compliance with getting vaccinations. So they want to make it easy for them. So for a week or maybe 2 weeks, they're allowing people to go there to get them without having, coming from Manhattan to go get them. All right. So they are doing something like that in a few places where you have to live in the area or whatever. But I think you could come over from New Jersey and probably get a shot here. Yeah.
I'm probably less bothered by this than you might think, because I'm not going anywhere anyway.
Yeah.
I haven't since March, and I haven't even seen relatives. You know, it's my wife and I, and we don't go out.
But wouldn't you like to?
Well,
because I don't know about you, but I'm getting a little
more than me. But it isn't bothering me as much as it is.
I'm getting a little squirrely. I'll tell you that right now. How about you, Jeff? No?
A lot.
A lot.
A lot. And
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Yeah. And when you
have
have
it comes every day, several times.
Yeah. And once you get the second shot, I think you feel a little more confident going out.
Anxiety.
Even though you'll wear a mask and everything else, you'll take all the precautions. You just will feel a certain safer. John Larkin, you got your hand up.
I go outside, but I don't like it. It's fucking depressing. Everything's closed, and it's it's fucking depressing. I don't want to go outside. I mean, if you buy something to get something to eat, you got to sit on the fucking corner. It sucks.
About 3 days ago, I think I went to the store, and then I came right back. That's the most I've been out in weeks.
Yeah.
Trucker Steve. Yeah, Steve.
Yeah. Me and my wife, we went to the mall today, okay?
Mm-hmm.
While Rocky was getting his haircut. And we went into the food court, buy some lunch. They opened the malls after lockdown, but they didn't open the food court to sit down.
Yeah.
So we go in the mall to get our food, and then we have to walk back to the fucking car to eat our food.
Yeah.
break
The
times.
fucking mall's open.
So, we have about 800 people at our 2 buildings for manufacturing, and all the break rooms are closed. You can go in there and get coffee, but you can't have your food in there, and you have to take breaks in your car.
But it makes no sense. You got a whole bunch of people walking through the mall, but you can't sit down and eat.
Well, Brian, your
because you put your mask down. Because you put your mask down. That's why.
Your facility, Brian, is close to mine. Are there any pretty 25-year-old women? They could come take a break over at my house.
Well, isn't that
a little ambitious?
Okay, well, I don't know. I just thought I'd ask.
A lot of 50-year-olds, like
25, eh?
Yeah, well, okay,
he needs his place cleaned or something.
So here's what we normally would say on a Friday show. So what are you all doing this weekend?
Oh, we're going to San Francisco tomorrow.
Are you really?
Yeah, just to get out of the house and just.
Oh
go
yeah, because you got cars
drive.
there. Yeah, I don't have a car,
Yeah.
so I can't even do that. And Robert, you're staying in the house, right?
Yeah, I'll probably watch hockey.
Yeah, I'm planning on getting up and
Rangers
going to the living room. That's my big plan for tomorrow.
Robert, you're a Rangers fan? I noticed.
Yes, for 60 years, Steve.
And Charlie's going to go out and shovel snow, right, Charlie?
Yeah, if there's any left.
If there's any left.
I'm a Penguins fan. I had an uncle who used to work in the front office there.
Oh, really?
So I see from your hat, jerseys, and all like that.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's, I just want to wish you all, what's that?
Go Sharks.
Oh, go Sharks? Oh, okay.
Are they playing in San Francisco now, or are they stuck in Arizona?
You know what the difference?
No, they finally got to come home.
Is?
What?
I don't know, but I wouldn't want to get butt fucked by either one of them.
Thank you very much with that little piece
I guess I missed that, but
I missed it.
I missed it too.
that
Would you
one.
like to repeat it one more time, John? I didn't hear it either.
You know what the difference between Elton John and a shark is?
Oh, don't go there.
I don't know, but I wouldn't want to get butt fucked by either one of them.
Thank you so much, Robert, Natalie, for joining us tonight. I'm sure you'll have a lot in the minutes to report back next time
They're
we see you.
playing in Lake Tahoe this weekend too.
Yeah, Trucker Steve, thank you, Dan Meyer, thank you, Alan, always a pleasure. Charlie wouldn't be here, wouldn't be a show without you. We missed you when you were gone.
We had a couple shows without him. What are you talking about?
Josh, a little quiet tonight, but nice to see your face here. Kevin, always good having you here. Excuse me. And Brian, thank you so much for being here. Jeff Stein, thank you. And thanks to John Larkin, all of you. Give a big wave goodbye, and I'll give a big wave goodbye at you, okay? There they go. That's the citizen panel, folks. That's what they wrote. We got a new citizen panel merging any minute now with Jack Bishop and the Intersection. And you'll be using Skype for that, and the address is Gabnet Live, JBNETLIVE. We'll see you again. Let's see, Monday we do a little pop-up show at 4 o'clock, but we'll see you right back here, 10:30 Eastern Standard Time here in New York City for another little episode of The Ramble. In the meantime, as always, If you see her, tell her I love her. And by the way, wear a mask, okay? And be careful out there. It's really important. And get vaccinated if you can. Good night, everybody.